Individual pleads guilty to possessing contraband in a prison. Muskogee, Oklahoma. Uh, the Attorney General's East District of Oklahoma announced that a 48-year-old entered a guilty plea to possession contraband in a prison. On the indictment, it alleges that on or about April 12, 2021, an FBI task force officer received a report of a disturbance in the X Pod at the actual Okmulgee County Jail. The X Pod housed federal inmates in accordance with a contract between the United States Marshal Service and the Okmulgee County Criminal Justice Authority. Upon arrival, the task force officer was informed that the disturbance had been ongoing and had escalated into a riot situation. When additional law enforcement arrived, a team was formed to enter the actual pod and restore order. As officers entered the pod, a group of inmates began throwing pieces of concrete at the officers. The riot lasted about 2.5 hours before order was restored. A total of 9 inmates were charged with federal offenses. Now, this is very, very common, especially for the feds. The feds will actually source out housing of actual inmates, and it does depend on the actual criteria of the inmates. If they're actually high, you know, high risk or white collar crimes, but you primarily will see these actual in county jails and also in military bases. If they have the actual resources to actually house inmates, they will use military bases to actually house federal inmates. And as for California, on the state side, if they were to ever um, go like on a strike, on a walkout for a state prison, the COs, the actual National Guard would take over, and they'll actually take over the actual the everyday, every hour actual runnings of the actual facility, along with the help with the FBI and other agencies to help actually smooth out the actual the takeover of the actual of the actual prison. And as I was actually researching this actual incident, it came to my mind that during the actual Capitol, the riots for the Capitol building on January 6th, I did not see any bayonets. Um, Back when I was going through there in the 90s, we were always equipped with the actual bayonet that you could put at the actual end of the actual M16. If you're not familiar with the bayonet, it's just a knife that you adapt to the actual end of your rifle, and it becomes a very long spear, basically. It's sharp, it has ridges, it's very intimidating, and it'll get the message across. And thinking about it, if you were to put a platoon with bayonets in front of that Capitol building, nobody would be rushing any door. Because chances are, if you're going to rush the actual security forces, you're going to be running into a bayonet, and that's going to be a bad day. It could be actually deadly because they're sharp, and if you're trained how to actually use them, it can become a very lethal weapon. Okay, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe.